Yeah, so I'm not that good at Greek mythology. I guess you could say it's a bit of an Achilles elbow for me. RuneFest, guys, RuneFest happened 2025. It was the first time in like since the COVID times years ago that they've run a RuneScape festival. Pretty exciting. I did not choose to go. I didn't feel like selling my car to get a ticket to go. I also live in Canada, so it's a bit of a trek. And yada yada yada. If I'm announced for best YouTube e-girl for next year, then I will go. But for anything else, I'm not. I'm just not gonna go. But yeah, here's what they're cooking up. So they did a huge reveal, and they're showing what the roadmap is for quite a while in advance. Now they will potentially keep slotting things into this roadmap, but in the meantime, some heater updates, some absolute schmonkly boys coming. The biggest things, I'm going to go through all of them, and there are timestamps. So feel free to jump to the timestamps that you would like to, check out. The video will be a bit longer. Rather than making one video for each topic, I'm going to touch on them lightly, and then I might make a follow-up video to talk more about these things. But there will be many videos on sailing in the future. But for this one, it's just an overview of what do we know now and what's exciting and what to think about, stuff like that. A friendly reminder before we get any further, feel free to subscribe. If you do, I will pet my dog Penny, just like you can see on screen right there. Yeah, look good head scritches. Looks good. Looks good. Okay, so the first thing that I thought was big and noteworthy was autumn release date for sailing. That is Ginormosaurus. It's huge. It is a new skill. We've never had an update this big. It is exciting. Now, people got to try sailing at the thing, at the Rune Festival. And guess what? Someone hid a phone up their something or other and that smuggled it in and got us some footage of what it is. The comment section is interesting for this one, for sure. If you want to watch this full video, it's 4 minutes. You're going to see a guy floating and boating. He's floating around. He does a delivery. He delivers from one side of the ocean to the other. You see, open the map up. Oh, there. Yeah, look at He's hiding this thing. He really wanted to. Anyways, it's pretty cool. So you can kind of see. I mean, there's a tooltip arrow that shows where you're gonna move. The movement looks smooth. So far, this looks totally fine. This is like inland sea. You can see the sea gradient. Looks kind of interesting. Not too bad. Not too. So there's a little menu on the right here, which I wasn't expecting, I guess. But this is only to increase how fast your sails are moving, or how sailed up it is, how fully torqued your sails are. Some of the comments, these are just, some of them are good and funny. There will be a RuneLite steering wheel plugin. Did you have this footage up your, smuggle this footage up your, booty cheeks. People will say this looks boring and then train fletching. So from day one, I've always wanted sailing just because of how exciting it could be, really. Also, this is not a sponsor, the McSpicy. Sailing, it's just the idea of sailing is what I like the most, where it has so much potential, and it could be like every few weeks, every few months, they add another sailing update, and then you get like these huge sailing updates. You're probably going to have it so like in your OSRS roadmaps every year, they're going to have like update, whatever, endgame boss, this, that, and then they'll be like, boom, sailing, new huge content revolving around sailing, and that'll be like one of the big updates for the year, where you can, if you're a sailor, you can jump back into that. If you're just there to get 99 and move on, then it's not content for you. It's just kind of like everything. But yeah, like something like this, people will say this looks boring and train fletching. For sure, like, guys, roaming around the ocean and doing contracts, like, that does look interesting. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't look that bad. But yeah, the sailing alpha will be coming this month, in the month of March 2025. People will be able to get your hands on it just by hopping to a beta world. It's an alpha world. They're calling it alpha because it's A comes before B. So if you know the alphabet, that it ends up, it's like one letter before. It's also sail. They have a typo here. So shout out to that. This came out more than 24 hours ago, and they still have that typo there. It's pretty impressive. This is why we don't believe that things are going to be good that they put out. Is they're just like, just miss on a whole bunch of things. Another fun one, if you go to their website and you click on roadmap, I was like clicking on this. Yeah, this is last updated September 7th, and they literally have like Rathmaw Wilderness Boss still on here, coming early spring 2025. I don't know. Anyways, feel free to send me a job offer, Jagex. I'll just help you with your job. So if we go back to the roadmap, sailing, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We saw a little bit of combat at sea, but in general, nothing crazy new here. It's just very exciting that they've got an actual release date. Whether this gets pushed back or not due to people like, you're going to have a lot of people saying good feedback and bad feedback towards it. So if it's not ready, don't rush it. Just put it to the winter. Next up, actually, it's kind of interesting. You might have sailing will impact this Deadman mode, which is interesting. Okay, so as I mentioned, sailing alpha is coming this month. After that, this is a big shock. Coming very soon in the spring would be an endgame duo boss fight. It's important for people to realize it's a duo boss fight. Do you remember the time that we had the Nightmare of Ashihama come out, and then the next PVM update was like next 2 years later, I think? And there was a 4-year gap between TOB and TOA. There was like endgame PVM just got no love for such a long time. Now with this year, you've got endgame duo boss fight. You've got the Enrage boss, which they renamed, but they just reused the old thing, which is also lazy. They're then going into a new Grandmaster finale with like that'll be combat stuff. But yeah, we've got some combat stuff coming. But yeah, the Yama boss I wanted to definitely look into here. Yama, the Master of Pacts. It's interesting when you hear people of a different, not dialect, you know what I mean, like accent. That's the one. It's very. I didn't know what they were talking about. Pacts. I was thought like PAX. Like, what are they saying? Pacts. But pacts as in like you're making promises, basically. So this is an interesting take. We just got Royal Titan's boss. That boss has been wildly successful. People are like, this is genuinely fun. Most people agree with that. And that's what I want RuneScape to be. I want all of the content that comes out to be fun. I want sailing to be fun. Make it fit the game, make it have lore, whatever, but in essence, like, we play this game for fun, so make it fun. Make it enjoyable to play. And by putting a boss like this could be very fun. You get one friend, you go take on the Yama, and it could be a good time. So the way this boss works, it's an end game piece of content. You're going to have to be like level 120 plus. He's going to pull out every trick he's learned in his long existence. Powerful magic, bloodthirsty minions, maniac cultists, manic. Good old-fashioned fireballs, you get the gist. While difficulty comparisons are always a struggle, the baseline experience will be a step beyond the Desert Treasure 2 bosses. A lot of people struggle with the Desert Treasure 2 bosses, which I think is good, because if you can use those as a stepping stone, you'll be able to then do Yama. You also might be able to just do this with an endgame PVMer that's really talented and can carry you. So, very fun. You can change up the fight by engaging with one of his favorite pastimes, signing contracts. So, my envisionment, which is probably not a word for this, is when you go to talk, you go to this like boss, and you can talk to it and say, give me a contract, or give me a Grandmaster combat achievement task thing. Let's say he has 20 different tasks that he could assign you. One of them is, okay, you need to kill me in under 2 minutes, and you get additional loot, for example. Or maybe it's you need to kill me wearing only an Abyssal Whip, and you will get a lot of additional loot. You'll probably have different levels of contracts, easy, medium, hard, or something in that range. Maybe it's just like hard and expert. I don't know how they want to approach that. It seems weird to call it an easy contract if the boss is already harder than Desert Treasure 2 bosses, so maybe they just call it hard and expert. But in general, you'll get some extra goodies for doing contracts. This is good because it's already endgame, but you could have the absolute sweat gamers get a little bit more out of it by doing those contracts. I won't go too much more into the contracts part, but I think it's a very cool idea. So far, it's a duo boss. You can do it with one other person. and then it's like a contract system, an ecosystem. It's like TOA Invocations is a nice like twist on a raid, but this is like a twist on a boss where you get like assigned specific tasks. Don't know what they're going to be, but I'm excited to hear about that. Rewards, very quickly. Death Charge upgrade. You can cast... You're basically able to now do Death Charge twice per minute. That is insanely powerful. And before I explain why and where this is going, the Surge Potion is also something for 25%. It's a potion that lets you drink it, one sip per 5 minutes, and you get 25% of your spec attack energy back. So they had these in RuneScape too, but you could sip one every 30 seconds, I think it was, or a minute, I don't know. You get a lot of spec back. Part of me wonders, so you sip it and you get 25%. I wonder if like it's too OP. Could you do a sip and then it gives you 5% spec every minute for 5 minutes? Maybe that's a good way of balancing it. Regardless, it's only 81 Herblore is what they're thinking. You're going to get an item from the boss that when you mix with a Torsal, it'll make a Surge Potion, and then you need to put your own blood in it to make it untradeable, and then if it's untradeable, it's drinkable. So you can't just buy these as a level. You need the Herblore level to use these, bottom line. So between the Death Charge upgrade and the Surge Potion, they're leaning into special attacks significantly here. When we think of what could a Raids 4 potentially involve, what would the the Mega Rare drop be? We have range from TOB, we have melee from range from Cox, melee from TOB, and gosh, I'm struggling, and mage from TOA. Like, what's the next? There's no next combat style. Are you doing a niche item that also is a Mega Rare weapon? How are you looking into that? So to me, it's like they might be leaning into Raids 4 Mega Rare being a spec-based weapon, like something that's just super powerful for spec. I don't know. It's a thought. Now, the next big thing that comes from this is the Soul Flame Horn. We're going to scroll back up and read the other things. This is a spec weapon that the boss drops. For 25% spec, you will blow the horn. You'll horn up your teammates. And anyone that's standing within 2 tiles of you will now get a boost of 100% accuracy for their next hit within 6 seconds. And only against NPCs. If there's 2 people standing on you, 2 like teammates, then it will cost 25 per person, so 25, 50%. So you can do this up to 4 people, and then it also gives you the bonus, so that technically 5 people. If you have a TOB team and 1 person blows the horn at the start of Maiden, everyone's specs are just, they're gonna hit. When it says 100% accuracy, additional 100% accuracy, if you have like 200% accuracy on your weapons, or you're like you're gonna hit, right? Like you can still maybe hit a 0, but I didn't read this as being like guaranteed hit. It's just 100% I don't know how that works. Regardless, Soul Flame Horn. Yep. That's a big exciting item. It kind of, I like that idea. I liked the idea in TOA where they have the little gem spears that. There was one that makes it so everyone hits higher, but you lose out on your DPS. And anyways, very interesting to see. Going back to where we were, these are the little things. The Death Charge upgrade, the Surge Potion. You're going to get a lot more spec per 5 minutes, per hour, adding to your DPS, but slightly. And it also makes you work for it. And then Cosmic Catalyst. This is a way of combining Soul Runes with Cosmic Runes. So this frees up an inventory slot because runes and PVM, it's just more and more inventory slots. I do like this because also give a little bit of love to rune crafting. So 90 rune crafting to combine them. So very interesting. Abyssal Worms, very quickly, this is just going to be something that you get from Yama that gives you faster rate to catch anglerfish. So that's an Iron Man update. Maybe it makes it worth doing on a main. Maybe you can just like make more money as fishing. I don't know. But this is the other big thing. The Slash armor set. Soul armor. You'll remember we have a crush-based armor set with Inquisitors. This is the equivalent with Soul armor. It will be 7 melee strength less than Torva. So not as many max hits by a good amount, but 38 more slash accuracy. There will be some bosses where this out DPS's Torva, but not all of them. If you're using a scythe, there will be a lot of times that you want to use this. But the weird thing about this is this armor makes it so you can hit through defense well with a scythe specifically, or a whip or whatever else that uses slash. But you could just use the Soul Flame Horn and lower its defense. Like, you might as well just, I don't know, it's kind of counterintuitive. Like, this could be something that you add to new bosses that they can't reduce their defense, so this is really powerful. Whereas the Soul Flame Horn, I can't talk, I keep butchering these names. This will make that, I don't know. There's some cases where like these cancel each other out, where if you can lower something's defense to 0, then you're going to want to use Torva. I'm curious to see where this actually is BIS. Comment below if you know, if you've seen some DPS calcs, where that actually be good. But for sure, they can just add this to future updates. Maybe this boss is only weak to slash, and that's where it starts. So the way this works, though, where does it say? Where's it saying this? Equipment rewards. Yeah, okay. So they talked about somewhere they're nope, doesn't show it here. You basically can get armor shards from the boss, and then you can do some mining in the area, creating its own little ecosystem to create this armor. So you could be super profitable with mining the shards to attach to the other shards. I don't know. It's not just like, it doesn't just drop a soul chest plate, it drops other stuff as well that you got to combine with it, and it's kind of interesting to see that they're going to do something like that. The other thing is that this has, in terms of defense bonuses, it had some good defense in, where was it? It's better in magic defense. It's only like a couple mice. I don't know. Regardless. Moving on. Shall we move on? We're done with Yama, but that's coming in early spring. I'm quite excited for it, to be honest with you. Maybe there's some pictures at the bottom here that I'd missed, because I know I saw some in the reveal. No, there aren't any. There were some pictures that showed like the area that of what it looks like, and it looked pretty cool. It's going to be at the bottom of that chasm of fire where you can fight some demons. Okay, so the final dawn is a Varlamore Part 3 update, and it's the last of those updates. This finally fills in that black space on west of the world map. There will be fletching activities, there will be a new Slayer dungeon, there will be new quests, some big and little quests as well. There's like a master quest, not a grandmaster, but the biggest thing with this is an enrage boss, which they've changed to be called a delve boss. Now this looks insanely good. Now if we pull that up, they started with this. The Doom of Mucky Hoidle looks so cool. Okay, we got a video above, blog here. Final Dawn. Yep, scrolling through. Final Dawn. The Doom of Mock. Look at these pictures. It's a shield, but it's like a body part. It's like an unsired. It digs through the ground. It burrows. But then there's like a person behind the shield, so it's like a reverse Zuck shield. The boss has a Zuck shield, where like I bet you if you hit this thing when it's got its shield up, it'll reflect and just one-shot you or something like that. It's like a reverse Zuck shield. I think it's very cool looking. The mechanics, basically when you kill it, it will burrow in deeper, and you can grab the loot or leave. It gets harder and harder, etc., etc. Yeah. We've been over this in other videos, so check those out if you'd like to see those. But in general, very exciting update coming with the Varlamore. That'll be in the summer. So that's the big update of the summer. The Enrage boss will be huge. We don't know the rewards for it yet because everything they've pulled so far has failed, or they've talked about it hasn't been pulled. Curious to see what they do there. I don't know, because they've got a demon boss coming, and this was proposed to drop a demon bane weapon, like these dual wield demon hammers. So it makes sense to flip these updates where like you get this first, you work on getting your new demon weapons, and then you go to Yama and you use them. So anyways, curious to see what they throw at us there, but in general, this is a big update and it's very exciting. Later in the summer, don't sleep on this update, the summer sweep up. Elemental weakness expansion. So far, we have a handful of bosses and monsters that have elemental weaknesses, but a lot of them don't. I think it's hard to know. I think a lot of monsters should have an elemental weakness. It makes sense when you have like a water fiend to have that be weak to a certain elemental weakness, but I don't know what would that be? Anyways, yeah, if you have a fire giant, it's weak to water, or if you have an ice giant, it's weak to fire. That was a better example. That makes sense. So they're going to expand on that. Better halberds. So maces used to be 5 ticks, and they lowered those to 4 ticks so that they were actually useful in different places. Warhammers, they removed the attack requirements on them, so you can use a dragon warhammer at 1 attack and 60 strength, which made those also useful. Halberds, I think they were kind of rumoring to talk about, like, could a halberd hit 2 monsters at once if they're side by side? And that makes sense. Could be cool to introduce that to people at like an early level. Like at level 40, you get a rune halberd, and you're like, yeah, when I kill my Tazars in the whatever Tazar area, I can hit 2 at once with a halberd, and you safe spot them. People used to safe spot Tazars for the Obby Cape drops back in 2005, 6, 7, whenever. And you'd use a halberd because it was just good. Regardless, drop table adjustments, they're going to fix up some drop tables. They did this previously where gargoyles dropped nothing, and now they drop like some alchemies, some ore, some runes, stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Some dedicated slayer quality of life. Something that got me thinking about this, dedicated slayer quality of life. What if you had, instead of a block list, what if you had a new slayer master where you have a priority list, for example? So you could say, you go through all the tasks and you pick your 5 favorite and your 5 least favorite. You choose those. Now it will change the weighting of them. You can't block anything. You'll still get the crappy tasks. But if you do the crappy tasks, say they're all a 2 weighting and your favorite tasks all get a 10 weighting. So you're doing them 1 in 5 task is one that you're not really keen on. What if they made it so it's like you get more Slayer points from those? If you do a task that you don't like, it gives you like quadruple your Slayer points. But if you do a task that you do like, it gives you like the regular amount. I think that could be really cool for a Slayer quality of life update, where it's just the block list method and the tutorial skipping method. It just seems very silly. I know they're going to address it eventually, but a lot of people play this game just to speedrun the Inferno. That's their go-to thing. And you have to kill like 1,000,000 seagulls before you can go kill Zuck, because you're skipping with Turiel, or Aya, whatever she's called now. Yeah, anyways, in general, looking forward to that. As we go along chronologically, we land on the sailing updates. So picture the summer, you get this huge update. You get a couple of months to work away at your enraged boss, the fletching activity. You're clogging and logging. You're doing your green log stuff and whatever. Grand finale quest. The rainforest has new content. You're going through all that. Super exciting. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm burnt out a little bit. We get a couple of cool updates and changes. Okay, yeah, I'll check those out, but they're not a big deal. And then boom, middle of September, middle of October, something like that. New skill. You're now busy from then until like Christmas. Once you're through Christmas, they're going to drop a Deadman mode in the winter. So you're basically you're focused on sailing. The whole team is going to focus on sailing. They're going to have to make so many updates to sailing after it comes out, with adjustments and fixes and all those bugs and stuff that are come with it. And then eventually, let's say 3 months later, 4 months later, they're going to get your next update, which will be Deadman mode. Following that, early 2026. So after the Deadman mode, probably the next week, probably a week off, and then you get this, maybe 2 weeks off. We're getting a Grandmaster Myrique finale. So it's the Vampyre Questline. This, like, not only does the trailer look awesome, all the trailers looked awesome, but this one looked really cool. Early 2026, we're gonna get that, and it's gonna be very cool. You're gonna get to go to Vampyrium, the home of the vampires. So think of Prif for the Song of the Elves. Think of Darkmire as there's not a lot in Darkmire. When you compare Darkmire to Prif, there's not much in Darkmire. Like, Prif has got way more stuff and worthwhile stuff. So they can have some really cool updates with Vampyrium. I would say, do you remember seeing that the blood sludge update that they were talking about, where they were going to make a blood jelly that you can kill for blood shards. Man, they lost me on that one big time. But put a way of getting blood shards with Vampyrium, like an easier way. Maybe it's like a super hard boss that has a reasonable drop rate on blood shards. And like to kill the boss, you have to invest something like blood runes. Like you don't want the blood shards to be 5 mil because then they're just way overused. It's good that they're super expensive. I like that. But I know with this new quest, they're going to add new like vampire bane weapons, which lets you kill vampires faster, which lets you get blood shards faster, which means blood shards are going to go down in price. I don't want that. It's good that they added the Rancor amulet because it's so much better than a Blood Fury unless you absolutely need that healing. Anyways, rambling on that one, but I'm excited for that one big time. It's going to be exciting. Now, these little things at the bottom, the biggest things that are coming would be HD, as well as all the different things that come with it, and Project Xanaris, or Xanaris. I always called it Xanaris, but Xanaris is what I hear a lot. So HD is it's on its way. It's gonna be joining. If I look at here, I have the tab saved. They're talking about HD, so it's like a process of them getting through all of their little things, checkpoints, milestones, yada yada yada, and then they have pictures down here that that shows. Let's open up in a new tab just so I have it. Like it looks good. The HD looks good here. They've updated the, if you haven't played on mobile in a while, the new mobile like client, it's nice, and you can actually make, like you can have things on here to mark tiles, to mark NPCs. Like you can get the base RuneLite plugins on mobile now, which is really good. There's just like a lot of updates coming through through just like the overall HD and API, and they're making the game smoother. If anyone has ever worked on a crappy computer and you've gone to an area without low detail on and your computer lags, like they're gonna fix all of that up with the new system. It makes a lot of sense, and they talk about it in their blog posts here that they're gonna work on this prior to sailing to get a good baseline. They have to have additional render distance for sailing to come into the game. Otherwise, you're constantly sailing into a black like cutoff. We've all seen it. You can only see like 20 tiles in front of you. A RuneLite plugin allows you to render further, and then they want to have it so it's just part of the game. You can render like super far. You can see really far into the distance. So that's exciting. Looking forward to that as well. Little other things like developer API. It'll be very smooth to make plugins and different things like that. Community hub for plugins. And it's going to make RuneLite more relevant. It's all going to be the regular client. But anyways, the next big thing would be Project Xanaris. So this is buy, rent, or play your own private servers. They had a couple of interesting servers that they showcased, which I thought was good. Everyone thinks of, like, if I was to play a private server, I would definitely be interested in playing like a replay of Shattered Relics League for like a week, for example, with a bunch of friends, like load it up, let's have a good time. I would also play a private server with friends where everything is just 5x faster, so you can really progress quickly through the levels, get the drop rates up to 5x, like all that stuff. That would be fun as well. But some of the ideas that they had for it was cool. They made it so there was one where it's your PvP everywhere, damage is doubled, XP is like 10x. I don't know. They showed some like weird stuff. There will be some very, very, very good things coming from Project Xanaris. Overall, it will increase player counts. I believe you will have some people play on their own private servers opposed to the main game. I might do that at some point. Like, there might be some weekends or some weeks where I'm like, I don't even log on to the main game. I'm just on the private server. Especially if you got to pay for membership on both the accounts. I'm not doing that, just because I'm cheap. But yeah, like it's cool. So this is coming. There's play tests coming. People can register for that if you want to do that. Check out their links to do that. But coming first will be Community Worlds, where it's Jagex run private servers, and they're just gonna have like some basic fun games on these servers that it makes a lot of sense. Now, I don't want mini games to be on Project Xanaris. I would rather those be in the main game. Now, when I say mini games, I mean I don't want them to make a Among Us server where it's got all the rules of Among Us. Everyone's probably played Among Us during the pandemic. Like, put that as a minigame in the main game, for example. I think, what else could it be? Like a hide and seek server, for example. Put that in the main game as its own minigame. Stuff like that is what I would like to see, and I want the private servers to be more of like content creators, people playing with just their friends. You can have a clan server where the rules are the exact same as the main game, but it's just private to your clan, things like that. But coming first would be the community worlds, which is very easy for them to create and release. So we might see that relatively soon. Pretty exciting stuff. Whew! Half an hour of talking. This is a good little podcast. Is this a podcast? Is that what I looked up the definition of podcast, and this does qualify. So appreciate you sticking with me here. If you've enjoyed, drop a like for sure. If you made it this far, comment below. What is your favorite soda? Are you like a Diet Coke kind of guy? Are you a Mountain Dew Code Red, Code Blue, Sky Blue Pink kind of guy? I don't know. Tell me what your favorite soda is, or pop, or soft drink, depending where you're from. And then for sure, like if you want to talk about RuneScape stuff, join the Discord. Link in the description, and let's chat. Just go in the general chat and just be like, "Hey, Flomple, what do you think? What do you think of the new sailing update, eh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Fettuccine Alfredo. It looks exciting." I don't know. That could be an update. Fettuccine Alfredo update. When's that coming? 2027. Any hoozle. Thanks. Subscribe, like, comment. Check out my Twitch. I don't know. You've been here before, right? And it's a good time. So see you later. Water is wet.